Now, here's the second part of the sideline chat for this week, and we continue our Betfred Super League coverage with round 8 and the Challenge Cup semi-final previews. But we have to start off at the AJ Bell Stadium, where the Salford Red Devils got absolutely destroyed by Warrington on a scoreline of 62-18.
Yeah, we all knew this one was going to come. It was just a matter of how quick it was going to come and what the final score was going to be. Salford did well to get 18 points on the board, but that was pretty much it. And Warrington has absolutely dominated.
The interesting thing was, and this was probably a bold move from Steve Price, he had Darryl Clark start from the bench and didn't bring him on until late.
Which is very unusual because Darryl Clark is an 80-minute player and he's a key player to their spine.
Well, I think the gamble with Danny Walker definitely paid off very well indeed. Toby King, you can't stop this bloke, can you?
Well, no, he got a double. Widdop had a magnificent game. He had a double, I believe.
Yeah, he scored 2 tries and he set up another try on his own. Same story with Toby King. Between them, 4 tries and 3 try assists.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
2 try assists, but still.
Really good football from Warrington. Yeah, I got that right. Yeah. Standout try to me was it? No, I don't think it was this match. No, it wasn't. I have to say, Ken Seo's length the field try for Salford after a
poor Warrington mistake.
Well, with a scrubber kick through, which was a bit of a rare mistake for him.
Because that was the problem with Salford. Most of their tries were basically jagged. I mean, Ken Seo's long-range effort, then Darcy Lussick crushing over at close range, and then probably the only try they probably did really construct was Harvey Levette's try.
Yeah, because it was poor defence by the Wolves, and Salford had the numbers, which resulted in Harvey Levette getting another try this season.
But apart from that, Warrington were in complete control by the 4th quarter of the match.
Yeah.
That's just running over the top. Oh, if you've got 3 players scoring doubles and then another 4 bagging tries, something's wrong.
Definitely. Toby King's his try. Salford were down to 11 players because of 2 yellow cards, so that really didn't help their cause any more. It's just a nail in the coffin for the night, really. Warrington were just way too smart.
And would definitely be a better response than that 26-20 defeat at the hands of the Huddersfield Giants.
Yes. But Warrington, Salford's season's gone from bad to worse.
Well, it didn't start out well at all.
Well, no. And, hope Warrington just keep on pushing through.
Well, Warrington are pushing through, considering they're sitting 3rd or 4th in the table, I should say.
Yeah.
When all's said and done, they're chasing the pack hard.
Hard and fast. There's still a long way to go. So anything could happen, but the rate Warrington are playing, even without Inglis, who's out with
for 2 months.
For 2 months with hamstring.
They played the first 5 or 6 games without him.
Yeah.
So they were sort of they started out a bit sketchy, but then they got off and running, and then it's just like, oh yeah, here we go. Warrington's starting out strong again.
Yeah, and they'll continue out through, especially the form that Widdop's in at the moment. Who else is in good form? Widdop, King, Ben Curry, he's in good form at the moment. So, and even Ratchford, they're in good form. So, watch out.
A lot of headaches for Sean Wayne when he names his England side.
Yes, very much so. It'll be hard to pick.
Well, speaking of headaches, Darryl Powell will be feeling this one as the Castleford Tigers go down to the Leeds Rhinos in a shock result, 60 points to 6.
Where were the Castleford Tigers? They were absolutely
They threw the first try, the most outrageous dummy you'll ever see.
By Jordan Turner.
Yes, by Jordan Turner. And then since then, 10 tries piled on in the second in the next 73 minutes, 77 after that.
It was ridiculous how many tries were put on Castleford.
I mean, all sides of the fields were exposed.
Yes.
Last week I said Castleford would have to go at Conrad Hurrell.
Well, that didn't happen because he put a chip kick through and scored off it. He
toyed with the Castleford defence big time, turning his defensive frailties last week into 4-pointers this week.
Yeah. You don't see Conrad Hurrell do chip kicks very often. And this one worked out very, very well as he scored his try.
Richie Myler had a ball of a game.
Oh, no doubt.
One try and then another 4 he helped set up, so he had his involvement in half the tries scored. Side to side, Castleford were not in this whatsoever.
No, they weren't. And the one and only try came early on in the match. Luke Gale, he was involved in a couple of plays, but not as many as he normally would be in.
Oh, it's his influence as well that led to try assists, that led to tries.
But he scored himself as Conrad Hurrell breaks through the defensive line of the of the Tigers, and Luke Gale scores to finish off a massive victory.
I think this is a big statement, not just for Darryl Powell, because there are fans now calling for his head, and maybe for Liam. For Lee Radford to come in now to take the job now. I don't think it's a wise move for Castleford. I mean,
no.
We'll talk more about this coming up, but sacking a coach mid-season or even early in the season does not work.
But it's not proved. It's proved over here in Australia as well as over in the Super League. So,
but we'll get more onto that. Moreover, it shows those people that Richard Agar's side is not done yet.
No.
They've had some bad rub of the green, but they're still in this.
Yes.
And
with a long way to go in the season.
Looking at the Betfred Super League table at the moment, they have a better points percentage than the next 2 teams above them. That's the 7th place Castleford and the 6th place Hull Kingston Rovers side. One more win by the Leeds Rhinos, or back-to-back wins. If they can beat St Helens, they'll jump closer to the top 5, and they will really begin to put pressure upon Hull FC.
It's going to be a tough test coming up against St Helens.
I mean, they haven't scored as many points as the 2 sides I mentioned, but again, points percentage is in Leeds' favour.
Yes.
Thanks to their defence.
A good thing heading into round 9.
Yes, but we'll elaborate more on that. But Leeds, they're not going away. And with the Huddersfield Giants chasing as well, this could get interesting in the months to come.
With this spot of slow start for the Rhinos, they're coming up, and they'll come up quite nicely, so they could fly under the radar quite quietly.
Well, one that doesn't fly under the radar at all and is in front half the time, it's St Helens. Responding to their shock loss to the Catalan Dragons, they basically put Hull FC to the sword at 34 points to 16.
Well, we knew St Helens was going to come back after the shock loss last week. Hull, I thought it might have been a tad closer than what the final score was, but it's St Helens. So Wellsby, he had a blinder game, a hat trick.
Oh, yeah.
Within the first half. No. Sorry. He had a double in the first half, and then not long into the second half, and he got a hat trick. So,
and there were so many half chances the Saints didn't convert. There were so many errors. I think Kevin Nagama got close, but he had his foot in the touch, I think it was.
We had both fees out. It was clear it was clear that his foot was over the sideline, in the touch.
So he's gotten close on several occasions. And
has.
The scoreline could have blown out to something a lot more ugly.
Well, it could have been like Warrington and Leeds. Could have been another
Salford. Oh no, yeah, you're right. Warrington and Leeds.
Yeah, it could have been another blowout score like that. Look, Theo Fage. Sorry.
You really need to work on your pronunciation. Otherwise, we're going to have a mob of angry Frenchmen somehow seek their way in here.
I'm sorry. My apologies. No, Leo Farge, he's been having a...
Theo, you've done it again. You want me?
So-
They're going to bring out the concrete baguettes and they're going to beat you to death with them.
I was going to shut up and say he's
The
he
little
had-
Frenchman. Just call him the little Frenchman,
little-
just until you can get the pronunciation right.
the little Frenchman. He had a pretty good game this, well, as always, and he set up a couple of tries. I don't know how many he set up. I've got
Well,
him that
between all 6 tries, him and Johnny Lomax were firing.
Johnny Lomax. He did play, obviously, but he wasn't quite involved as much. Like he usually scores, maybe. He only scored 1 try, but he usually probably gets a bit more. And
He didn't score at all. He helped set up 3 tries.
sorry, yeah.
Probably half of them were for Jack Wellesby.
Well, his last setup that from Morgan Knowles, who broke through the line, who passed to Lomax, who then passed on to Batchelor, who got over to get the last try for the Saints. So he got involved then. But he usually scores at least 1 a match, so he had a fairly quiet
We
night.
also have to take into account not everyone's going to score every game, despite the fact that some of these blokes are noted try scorers. Take Alex Walmsley. He's probably, again, another standout performance for him. 172 running meters, probably about 2 tackle breaks and 4 offloads. So that really caused trouble for the whole defence when he was getting the ball away.
True. Adam Swift for the away side. He scored yet again with Mahe Fanua getting a double. Well, Fanua's second try was right as a full-time sign went. So, look, you could say the last 2 tries, or the last try really for whole, were a consolation try really. Like, they weren't going to win the match. They were in it, but then they weren't in the other instant. But they more weren't in it than what they were in. So, now good victory at St. Helens, and they've bounced back quite nicely.
Well, someone who really suffered big time, and this I suppose came as a shock to everyone, but the Catalan Dragons downing the Wigan Warriors 48-0.
Who saw the Wigan Warriors getting
Nilled
nil?
at Catalan. I mean, it's a formidable trip to make to the south of France, but come on. Surely Wigan could have put up a better fight than they did.
This one could have been and should have been
The game of them.
the game of the round.
Yeah.
Because Catalan's been playing really well, so have Wigan, but somehow Wigan just didn't look like they turned up at all. As we know, they got annihilated and got 48 points put on them.
And it was only 16-0 at half time, so Wigan,
But within
they
striking
folded
distance,
in the second half as the Dragons piled on all the pressure.
they did. Like, Mike McMeekin got Catalan's 7th try out of 8. That's unbelievable.
And another good opportunity for Mathieu Laguerre, the young French winger, in for Fouad Yaha in the moment.
Yes.
And then doubles from Josh Drinkwater and Sam Tompkins.
So, yet again, Josh Drinkwater having another brilliant game. It must be now with Drinkwater at the moment.
And then, of course, Michael McAlorum getting across. One of the ex-Wigan contingent,
Yes.
getting a return serve across.
And he scored the very first try of the match for Catalan.
Out of dummy half. That just,
yeah.
you should not be giving someone like Michael McAlorum time and space.
Well, even Wigan, their defence should have been better, which it wasn't to be.
No, it wasn't.
Well,
Something that rubbed me up the wrong way was Sam Cassiano could have bagged a try.
he could have. But no.
He could have, and he should have, but they pulled it back because apparently it was a forward pass. I'm not convinced it was a forward pass. Flat, but not forward.
But he did get an offload later on in the match to, I'm going to probably say this wrong, Morg?
Artur Morg.
Yeah, yes. And who scored like right next to the post. So he did have a try assist.
Yeah, but he
But
was
still
probably
not as good as getting a 4-point.
yeah, he got. And then, of course, there was the blue, which resulted in a very interesting 12-on-12 situation at the end of it. Zach Hardacre, red card
Yes.
for a headbutt on Sam
Yes.
Tompkins.
Yes.
And in response, Joel Tompkins was yellow carded for 4 matches for throwing, just letting fists fly.
Yes. So there was no need for that. The match was pretty much set and done. It's probably just a frustration from Wigan that they were held scoreless and put that many on, like off 48 on them. It wasn't themselves, and I can see why, but there's kind of no need to do it though.
Well, I bet they were singing Le Marseille loud and proud after full time because they've just knocked off the 2 grand final sides in consecutive weeks.
Which, how often does that happen?
Probably not often.
No. So it's good. Catalans could be a bit of an upset.
Well, they're comfortably sitting second at the moment. They're coasting very nicely. There's a lot of confidence around Steve McNamara's side at the moment. They've knocked off the league leaders from the previous year, and they've knocked off the reigning champions.
Yeah.
And they are. I think at this stage, I'm justified naming them third at the moment. And it could change. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But it helps when you got players in form like Tompkins, McMeekin, Maloney especially. He's been in pretty good form at the moment.
The kicking game, James Maloney's.
Yeah. And even Josh Drinkwater, he's been in really good form at the moment too. So form helps a team get results.
Well, from flying high to sinking low, it's another loss for the Leigh Centurions, as this time they got downed by Hull Kingston Rovers 40 points to 16.
And it didn't end well for one certain person on the coaching staff.
No, it certainly did not. Not long after, and before we actually sat down to record, or at this point in time, John Duffy has been removed as head coach of the Leigh Centurions after 8 straight losses.
And it's effective immediately as well. So
Leigh's season has now just gone from bad to worse.
They're going to get relegated. I'm sorry, Centurions fans, you're going to hate me, but it's true. They're going to get relegated.
They're just not in it. They're 18-12, you'd be thinking Leigh would make this game competitive, and then Hull Kingston Rovers absolutely went berserk in the second half.
Like a lot of teams have done in the second half this season.
Ryan Hall, he's loving life back on this side of the world.
A hat trick.
Yeah, I think, and they said he was actually top try scorer after 8 rounds. So he's flown is trying to recover from his ACL injury at his time at the Roosters and getting limited opportunities because Trent Robertson's preference was Daniel Tupou and Brett Morris.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
And when you got England international and all-time Leeds great. But yeah, Ryan Hall absolutely flying for the Robins, and Jordan Abdul as well.
He had another blinder of a game. Jordan Abdul, he's been one of the best players this season, along with Ryan Hall. So they could be there come the end of the season.
A lot of mid-table jostling for those top 6 spots.
Yes, and anything can happen.
And at the moment, Hull KR are definitely showing they're in amongst the jostling.
Yes. Look, Ben Hallowell got a double for the Centurions, so that's one good positive out of that.
And there was that long-range break between Lewis Tierney and Ryan Briley to combine.
Yes.
For that try.
Down the sideline. There's just there was really no one in defence for the Rovers. Like, when you look.
Yeah, they 2-on-1, they put Quinlan out of position. He had to make a call, and it didn't work out for him.
Yeah, which, I mean, you always knew that was going to happen. 2-on-1, you know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
You could either pass it back into the inside, or fend off, or step, or whatever, or put a kick through. Any of those scenarios could have happened, but better take the safer game, just pass the ball and score.
Yeah, and just the defence that the Leigh Centurions is offering up is not good.
No.
Not good at all. It's not going well. For them, it's Liam Hood, supposedly the captain of the club, and he's already missed 5 tackles all up.
Was that just in that game or the whole season?
Just in this game alone. Matt Wildy, 3 tackles missed. Jamie Ellis, 2 tackles. And others amongst them, 1 tackle missed each.
Yeah, it's just poor defence. And they're just not clicking this season. And as we know, the coach is now gone.
So, to make matters worse, putting it bluntly, it's going to be a longer road for the Leigh Centurions back to the championship.
And one try from Greg Minikin for Hull KO. The least the Tunes have got about him. Because he just had miles of space out there to score his try. It's probably one of the easiest tries in his career. Like, all their defence just came in to zero in to try and get like an intercept or something. But no, just straight out to Minikin, who like he could have walked over and still had time to put it down.
Now, another big upset from the weekend, and it's really starting to save Wakefield. Downing the Huddersfield Giants 38 points to 12. And they were up 30-0 in the first half.
Yeah. So they wouldn't be happy with letting 12 points in the second half when they're up by that much at the break. Like, they could have put more points on the board. But only 8 in the second half is a little bit disappointing. And like I said, letting 12 in is disappointing. But they're coming from nowhere at the moment, Wakefield. They're on a bit of a roll, but as I said, can't read into it too much now because then fortunes can change very quickly.
They can, but I think Ian Watson will be heavily upset that they've allowed practically 6 tries in against them.
Yeah, it's not a good performance from Huddersfield. Considering they have done reasonable this season.
I mean, you think of it this way. They've let the entire Wakefield second row in. They've let Tanganoa in, they've let Jay Pitts in, and they've let Joe Westman go through, on top of Liam Kay down the left-hand side with Bill Tupou, and then Mason Lino bags a try of his own.
Which was the length of the field after an intercept for Mason Lino. Liam Kay's second try of the match. Wow. There was a poor pass from Huddersfield. There was an intercept. I can't remember who by, but it was just weaving in and out of the defence of Huddersfield and stepping and passing and all that, and finally a massive pass out to Liam Kay, who just runs in and scores his double. Like, that was great teamwork leading up to that try, which is like what you like to see. And that's built on the back of confidence. Like, once a team's on a roll and full of confidence, they can get somewhere.
And well, they're not moving fast at the moment, given that was only their second win of the season, but they are closing in on Huddersfield, Leeds and Castleford, ranging from 6 to 8 points. So they're not that far off the pace.
No.
But they're still low table. Only Salford and Leigh sit below them, and there's still everyone in front to beat.
Which, like I said, blink of an eye and the tables could be turned quite quick. Like,
well, Hull KO have levelled off nicely, and they're not that far behind Hull FC at this stage.
Crosstown rivals, so...
Yeah, don't like each other very much.
So anything can happen. I don't think St Helens will get knocked off the top this season, but between 2nd and, say 11th, because I'm saying that Leigh will get relegated, but between 2nd and 11th, it's all to play for at the moment.
Yes, it is. There's everything to play for. All to do to avoid that 12th rung on the ladder and to avoid relegation.
Yes.
Now, I did say Challenge Cup semi-final action, but there is just one league match we've got to get out of the way first, and it's the round 13 clash between Wakefield and the Leigh Centurions at the Mobile Rocket Stadium. Normally, in a normal season, that in the Challenge Cup would have fixtures of the league played before their cup commitments, and it's before, or they actually commit to the cup. But given this year, the semi-finals are being played now, this is just the way the RFL has fallen. So, Wakefield against Leigh. They will be playing fresh off first up. The only side outside the 4 semi-finalists that will be playing this weekend. There's not really much we expect from Leigh, is there?
Well, no, and considering the 2 wins in a row that Wakefield have done, especially like the last victory against Huddersfield, which was a bit of a surprise, Wakefield will be easy favourites, no doubt about that. And being at home at the Mobile Rocket Stadium, we saw how well that was in their advantage last week. So, and how, I hate using this word, but how poorly the Centurions have been going all season. And without a head coach, they're going to have an interim head coach. We don't know who as of yet and how long. their week's going to go from bad for worse for the Centurions.
As much as we've already described how bad the Leigh Centurion season has been going.
Yeah, it's pretty much the Leigh Centurions this season is the Brisbane Broncos 2020 season. It will be I'm even going to say a 20-point plus victory for Wakefield.
I would say a Wakefield.
Not 13 plus, 20 plus.
I would say Wakefield 13 plus as well.
Yeah.
The Leigh Centurions.
They're just nowhere.
They keep busting their guts for maybe 40 or 60 minutes, but then they just get run down or absolutely outclassed straight away.
Yeah.
And this match against Hull KR has just been the tipping point for Derek Beaumont, who has seen fit to get rid of John Duffy by mutual consent.
Yes.
Now,
which is unfortunate.
the big action that will be coming up, the Challenge Cup semi-finals, the last two places for the road to Wembley. Only two teams will make it. Our first semi-final at the Leigh Sports Village between Hull FC and St Helens.
Mate, it's going to be a great game. Like, they're playing, well, put it this way, it's a reverse of what it was in the league.
8 days, 8-day turnaround. We know how funny sides can get in 8 days.
Well,
but here,
look, I don't know, to be honest. Like, we know Saints won over
handsomely.
Hull, yes. Hull FC will be looking to try and derail St Helens' Challenge Cup final bid. But I don't know. It's a funny game. Things could turn around, but knowing St Helens, they'll be too good and too strong. Depending on the side that they name. See, St Helens could have a little bit of a weaker side, and Hull FC will probably go full strength.
St Helens have a weaker side. What? How many internationals are you willing to take out?
Well, only like maybe 2 or 3. But like weaker side than normal. But I'd say Hull FC will be probably going to a near full strength, maybe 1 to 2 key players out.
I think it would depend if Tommy Makinson and Regan Grace are both fit to take the field for Christian Wolf. But even without Makinson or Wolf or Grace, St Helens have had no trouble with try scorers because then they just get, let's say, Kevin Nagama, shift out to the far side. There, Jack Wellesby, you get another opportunity because you're our grand final hero. And Mark Percival.
The little Frenchman, if he plays, he's been sent up.
He'll play. Theo Farge will play. No doubt about that.
Yes. But, and if Wellesby plays, as you already mentioned.
I think Brett Hodgson will have to look at trying to tighten up the whole right side defensively because it got torn apart by Saints. And then trying to match, if they can go at Alex Walmsley, try and limit his forward momentum, then they could try and swing it back in their favour.
They could. Whether they succeed in that or not, we have to wait and see come game day.
But otherwise, I think St Helens win 13 plus and they book the first berth to Wembley.
I'm going to say St Helens to make it to, like you said, the first berth to Wembley. I'm going to say in a 1 to 12 margin. It could be a close match. Like I said, Hull FC will be looking to bounce back from their league defeat 8 days ago. So, yeah, it'll be St Helens 1 to 12.
And finally, the final semi-final, final berth at stake, the Castleford Tigers up against the Warrington Wolves. Well,
yes.
If the last couple of results are anything to go by, it's looking bleak for Castleford.
Considering
your last two results, run down by Hull Kingston Rovers, and then absolutely demolished by the Leeds Rhinos, where in contrast, Warrington had a competitive loss to Huddersfield and then wiped Salford off the face of the earth.
Which is no surprise.
No surprise, yeah.
But if Castleford, I'm going back to Leigh, like to the league match, if Huddersfield put up a performance like they did against Wakefield, they nowhere against Warrington. Because as we know, Warrington put 62 points on Salford. So if that carries over into the Challenge Cup semi-finals, it should be an easy victory for Warrington. But Castleford, I hope, give it to them and give them a run for their money.
And I think it's also ironic that Darryl Powell will be going up against his future employers in a cup semi-final. So what would happen? It's sort of he's damned if he does win, damned if he doesn't win, because if he wins, then Warrington are going to be annoyed because they missed out on the cup, but they're going to get at someone who took Castleford to the cup final. But if they lose, it'd be interesting. I just think it's a lose-lose situation, regardless of which way you want to look at it for Darryl Powell.
Yeah, that's true. Look, Warrington will take it pretty much. Well, they probably won't even need to take a full strength side, but they will go probably near full strength like Saints will. I just feel they won't be in the match. They'll try early to. Well, I reckon Huddersfield will get earlier points on the board, to get out to maybe a 16-point lead. But Warrington will be too good and too classy to come and hunt them down. For the majority of the match, and Warrington will probably win 13 plus.
Yeah, I agree. And setting up a rematch of the 2019 Challenge Cup final, I will also say the Warrington Wolves 13 plus to meet St Helens at Wembley for the second time in 3 years.
And if that happens, it'll be a very, very spicy Challenge Cup final.
Well, it could be St Helens' last opportunity to get one up on Steve Price because of the 2019 result, which I think was a bigger shock.
Yeah.
That Saints were still unstoppable in 2019, and yet Warrington, having lost the year prior to the Catalan Dragons, they came out, held St Helens to a single try, and lifted the trophy at Wembley.
Which doesn't happen often, leaving St Helens to a one try. That does not happen. Very, very rarely does that happen.
This is another chapter in Saints and Warrington's recent history, because you've got to keep in mind the 2018 semi-final, to which a Ben Barber error sets up Tom Lynham for the match-winning try, and Warrington go through to the grand final against Wigan.
Yeah. But we have to wait and see if it is a St Helens Warrington Wolves Challenge Cup final, as we will preview. Well,
when it comes round.
When it comes round, yeah.
All right. Well, that is full time from us. If you liked what you heard from both parts, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the Sideline Chat podcast so you never miss a week of rugby league action. If your team's got a break, hope you use it very well. For the teams that are playing, good luck, and we'll give you our final Origin predictions next Wednesday. Along with Mark Henry, I'm Connor Marcellus, and you have been listening to the Sideline Chat podcast. Bye for now.
See us.